Have you ever been so angry and messed up that your actions ended up hurting those around you? Let's talk about it. Barry Smith here, author, husband, father, pastor of 25 years, and a guy who has run from God more than once. Yeah, okay, so it's been a bunch of times. Get off my back, folks. We've all been there. We get hurt, we get mad, we get sideways with life, and we withdraw or we rebel or we lash out. And when it happens, we hurt those around us. Often it's the people we love so much that get hurt the most. In case you missed the last couple of videos, we found that people run from God for several reasons. One is they have FOMO disease, the fear of missing out. Others don't trust God. And sometimes people run from God because they confuse God with the local church. They got burnt by the local church and then they ran. And then they feel guilty like they've bailed on God. Or worse yet, they actually do run from God. And when people run from God, we learn that they run to the strangest places. They run to the most dangerous, self-destructive places. Places where outsiders look at where they're running to and say, "What are you doing?" They eventually self-destruct because they run from the source of wisdom, truth, unconditional love, and acceptance, as well as the source of their purpose. Today I want you to see that when you run from God, you almost always hurt those in close proximity to you. If you live with or date or hang out with somebody who's running from God, you know that as their life unravels, your life is also negatively impacted. In the story of Jonah, we see the sailors on this ship are about to lose their jobs, their livelihood, and even their own life. And all they did was take a ticket from a guy that got on board who was running from God. Listen, Dad, if you're running from God, your wife and kids will be injured by the shrapnel of your life. You can pray and ask God to protect them, but it's just going to happen. And listen, young people, you know why your parents overreact when you date certain people? Because they are a third party who looks at your life and goes, huh? Because when you start to hook up with someone who's running from God, everybody who loves you knows that your heart may be pure and you may think your motives are right, but if you hook up too close with someone who's running, you will be hurt. In Jonah, we see that God, in His grace and mercy, will plop down right in the middle of the consequences, in the middle of the pain, and He'll involve Himself by sometimes exaggerating the consequences and the pain, not to pay you back, but to bring you back. That's huge. And if that means God is allowing you to suffer a little bit, to bump into your own consequences for the sake of getting your attention, then He'll do that. Look at Jonah chapter 1, verse 4. Then the Lord sent a great wind on the sea, and such a violent storm arose that the ship threatened to break up. All the sailors were afraid. Now you know that God is getting involved because it takes a lot to scare a sailor. This was their job. This was their environment. They were used to storms, but they were petrified. Verse 5. And each cried out to his own God, and they threw the cargo into the sea to lighten the ship. But Jonah had gone below deck, where he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. The captain went to him and said, "How can you sleep? Get up and call on your God. Maybe He will take notice of us, and we will not perish." Well, there goes the whole point of the trip. The sailors actually thought they were going down with the ship. Look at verse 7. Then the sailors said to each other, "Come, let us cast lots to find out who is responsible for this calamity." So they cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. Now Jonah's got to be going, uh-oh. I'm starting to get the connection here. This isn't just a storm. This isn't just a coincidence. Jonah knew that God was tracking him down. The hound of heaven was sniffing him out. Verse 8. So they asked him, "Tell us, who is responsible for making all this trouble for us? What do you do? Where do you come from? What is your country? And what people are you?" Verse 9, he answered, "I am a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the land." Jonah's like, "Listen, I serve the God who made the water, and He rules over the land that I should have stayed on." Jonah is responsible for all this damage to everyone around him. Verse 10. This terrified them, and they asked, "What have you done?" They knew he was running away from the Lord because He had already told them so. Verse 11. The sea was getting rougher and rougher, so they asked him, "What should we do to you to make the sea calm down for us?" And Jonah realized what I hope some of you will realize. It's pointless to run from God. Running from God is futile. So why do it? And as I've stated, you can run from God, but you can't outrun God. In fact, God may even create consequences that might be overkill for the rebellion that you've taken. But if that's what it takes to bring you back, so be it. It's truly for your own good. Because even though God knows that you've put all of His grace and mercy in the rearview mirror of your life, He's still willing to look past that to rescue you from your rebellion. And yes, I said rescue you. Because when it looks like the end, when it appears that you've reached the end of your rope, when all of your options appear to be gone and you think that God has abandoned you, that actually could be the point that God is right in the middle of it all, trying to point you back in the direction that brings hope and life and peace to you. But you've got to stop running. Seriously, stop it. It's only going to hurt you and those in close proximity to you. Are you ready to stop running? Let me know what you think. Are you in the middle of hurting those around you? Are you in the middle of a sinking ship right now? Stop running. I implore you. You'll be glad you did. And as always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. It helps us get the word out. I'd really appreciate it. Seriously, hitting that big red button helps keep this channel going. And if you like our stuff, consider supporting us with a tip on PayPal or a tax-deductible donation at YouChoose.Community. All of those links are right below. So right now, go ahead and hit that thumbs up and share this thing, because no doubt somebody you know probably needs to hear this. And if you're ready to stop running from God, let me know in the comments below, and I promise I'll pray for you. Until next time, God bless.